Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. This is going to be an exciting video in regards of just a lot of tea to be spilled in regards of what's going on with the whole ETHgate scandal and Ripple versus SC stuff, and then a lot of other stuff that we're going to cover in regards of Cointelegraph and their articles. We're going to be taking a look at James K. Fallon's. He has a tweet thread here in regards of the SC versus Ripple timeline. Obviously, we just had an update yesterday from James K. Fallon with Judge Torres kind of shortening the window in regards of litigation within the case, which is absolutely positive, which is pretty much showing that this case should be over before the end of this year. So we're not going to be going into next year, March of 2023. Also going to be taking a look at Johnny Deaton. He is pretty much calling out Gary Gensler and all his shenanigans and him not, listening to the 67,000+ XRP holders in regards of them suing the SC because, they're not protecting investors. We're also going to be taking a look at this big FUD campaign that's going on in regards of XRP. So there's been a lot of talk about how in the past CoinMarketCap, they kind of messed up, the data in regards of the pricing in XRP when it came to, the Korean exchanges and whatnot, which affected how it was viewed on CMC. But now you have this campaign from CoinMarketCap with this whole imposters image, and we're going to go through that as well. There's a lot more we're going to be taking a look at in regards to Johnny Deaton, some good stuff from Tag XRP. Also right here, Digital Asset Investor had put up this little 1-minute interview with Laura Shin here, and just the mockery and just I like to say, is this real life mentality of kind of like sweeping under the rug this whole ETHgate stuff. She's kind of giving Ethereum a lot more credit than it deserves in regards of its its upbringing and kind of where it's at today. JV posted this great video with Gary Gensler talking about investor protection, so we're going to go through that, which is kind of crazy. Looking at these articles here, we're going to be taking a look at Coinbase responding to allegations of like insider trading, Binance blocking Russian relatives tied to Russian government in regards of the sanction that the U.S. had put on them. U.S. crypto adoption remains high despite global inflation fears. ETH 2.0 or consensus layer deposits contract now holds 10% of the circulating ETH supply. Some updates on VeChain, which is super positive for the VeChain community. And then obviously we talked about this bipartisan bill, but we're going to take a look at that as well. Quickly, we're going to take a look at CoinGecko. And as you can see, we're seeing a sea of red. There's a lot of blood in the market right now. We're currently sitting at a $1.85 trillion market cap, currently down 3.8%. And if we look at Bitcoin's holding actually pretty strong. Granted, the blood that we're seeing is holding at 38,602. And if we come down here, Ethereum sitting at 2,814. XRP sitting at 61 cents, which is kind of nuts to see. But I mean, it kind of makes sense with all the FUD campaigns, Ripple versus SC, and obviously just the downturn of the market in general. If we come over here to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, we're currently sitting at 23. So just yesterday we were up to 24. So we're down a point, still in this extreme fear range. So obviously there's a lot of market uncertainty. So let's just jump into the stuff. I'm really excited about this video. So starting with James K. Fallon, this is kind of his insight. He says, I have a few thoughts on the scheduling order. A couple of weeks ago, I said that I thought briefing would start in July and end in November. That's where Judge Torres ended up, but only because that was the schedule that worked best for the court. Separate schedules were set for the motions challenging experts and for the summary judgment motions. That is important because of the 6-month rule, which incents judges to decide motions within 6 months after they are filed. The clock on the rule actually starts ticking 30 days after the motion is filed, so the judges get a 30-day grace period. The 6-month lists are published twice a year, on March 31st and September 30th, and only list motions pending longer than 6 months that are still pending on those dates. He continues down here. 4, there is no real consequence for a judge's name to appear on the 6-month list, but judges generally want to avoid the public shaming, and Judge Torres has not, based on my research going back to September 30th, 2013, ever been on the 6-month list. 5, the opening expert motion briefs will be filed on July 12th, 2022, so we can expect decisions on those on or before the 6-month list is published on March 31st, 2023. The summary judgment motions will be filed on September 13, 2022. So they slide past the March 31st, 2023. 6-month list allowing for the built-in 30-day grace period. But my prediction is that Judge Torres will decide both the expert motions and the summary judgment motions at the same time, on or before March 31st, 2023. That is what she did in the Goldman Sachs case I discussed last week. This is guesswork, but predictions that the case will be decided before the end of the year, respectively, in my opinion, off the mark. I just don't see the judge deciding all the motions in 45 days, which is quite interesting that he's saying that, because obviously we covered yesterday, Jeremy Hogan was saying, this 45-day period is plenty of time for her to, kind of make her decision, but this is kind of his viewpoint on it. So I'm curious to see where things are actually going to end up. He says, after the last briefs are filed on November 15, 2022, especially with the holidays sandwich in between, while everyone wants things to move faster, it's better for the court to get it right than get it done fast. And the right outcome is worth waiting a few more months for. He says, Ripple's lawyers have consistently shown that they have what they are going, or they know what they are doing. So I would sit back, be patient, and watch them work their craft now. So it's quite interesting to see kind of his viewpoint on that, and I'm curious. I'm actually curious to see if if that's actually going to play out. I mean, quite honestly, based on everything that's been surfacing, and actually, once you get like expert testimony and all that stuff going on, I'm wondering if it would be, if she would be able to, come to some sort of deliberation in that 45-day period, kind of getting this case done and over before the end of the year. Should be quite interesting though, and that's not even talking about a potential settlement coming in. But coming over here, Johnny Deaton's responding to Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler says, in case you missed it, yesterday I joined, this is S Rule A or whatever, on 11th hour to discuss market transparency and investor protection, which we're going to show a little bit of a clip of it. But he goes, S Rule A, S Rule, are you aware Gary Gensler has chosen to ignore over 67,000 XRP holders who had to sue the SEC because of their absurd claims being made by his enforcement lawyers? How often do tens of thousands of investors ask a court to be named defendants in a lawsuit? Will you report? He comes down here and says, are you aware former SEC Chairman Clayton and former Director of Corporation Finance, William Hinman, violated basic ethic rules and appear to have violated criminal conflicts laws? Are you aware CNBC won't report because Clayton is a CNBC contributor? Will you report? So I'm glad he's kind of, applying that pressure. Who knows, you may not get any response, but it's just a matter of time before they can't ignore the elephant in the room. We're going to keep applying pressure and make sure that, we're liking and retweeting and surfacing all this stuff. Coming over here, so there's a lot to unpack here. So we were talking about how in the past CoinMarketCap, apparently before CZ and Binance had bought CoinMarketCap, apparently there was this play to disregard certain exchanges in Korea that affected XRP's pricing or whatever, and it affected its position within CoinMarketCap, which wasn't good for XRP at the time. And I forgot what year it was. It's kind of merely interesting. The point I'm trying to make is here's something else that's been popping up. So if I click in here, this is from Moon Level right here. It says 6 hours ago, CoinMarketCap tweeted that XRP is an imposter that is not decentralized. All lies. CMC has 5.2 million followers. Talk about poisoning the well. Hours later, it was deleted without an explanation or apology. This is not acceptable. So if we come in here, let's take a look at this. So I don't know if you played, maybe I can see the whole picture, but I don't know if you played this game. It's an awesome game. But yeah, they have all these, the name of these digital assets and XRPs over here, but it says, who's the imposter? And it has, BTC, Ethereum, BNB, Litecoin, XRP, Monero, Link, Maker, and Neo. And it says the answer, XRP, for being controlled and governed by authorities, hence defeating the purpose of cryptocurrency. All the other coins in this are decentralized and are basically people's crypto. So coming over here, I think it has the full image, I think. Okay, here it is. So here's the full image, and here goes XRP. So they're saying XRP is the imposter. And when you're the imposter in this game and you get outed, obviously, I guess the survivors, the people that survive the game, end up winning. But if you are the imposter and you pretty much take out the entire ship crew or whatever the case is, then the imposter wins. But the whole purpose of the game is to complete your tasks and, try to figure out who the imposter is and survive. Which is crazy. This is crazy. Anyways, coming back here, Digital Asset Investor says, a week ago, I asked people, have they noticed the increased FUD on XRP lately? Predictions? It will continue to increase as we get closer to the resolution of this case. So it's like, okay, really take a step back and think about this. What's going on right now? Obviously, you have the, buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to 200,000. Buy Ethereum. Ethereum's going to 10,000, 20,000 and all this stuff, right? But then they're completely fudding, assets like XRP. And it's like, okay, why are they doing that? Why are they trying to get us to turn our heads and to kind of not even look at XRP? Are they accumulating on the low? So when this thing really takes off, they're going to have a fat position and we're going to kind of be out, the people that either sell off or don't invest in it. Like, what's really the narrative here? What's their play? That's kind of how I started thinking about this thing. Coming out here, which is quite interesting, this from Cowboy Crypto says, if I come up here, it says, this is a coordinated attack. So coming right here, I thought this was interesting. So we know Multi-Coin Capital, I think is what it's called. We know that they were, an entity or a group of people that were shorting XRP when all the FUD campaign came out about it in the past. They were FUDing it, and obviously you have the Ethereum free pass stuff that ended up happening. Bitcoin and Ethereum got the pretty much the saving grace of not being considered a security. So obviously you had Mike Novogratz and I think it was Multi-Coin. I forgot the gentleman's names, but they were shorting XRP, which is kind of adding validity and putting them pretty much in the mix of this whole scandal, right? So it says Brandon Ches is founder of CoinMarketCap. Guess who one of the investors was in regards to CoinMarketCap? It says Multi-Coin. So it's kind of crazy how everything's kind of tying together when you really look at it. And coming up here, CoinMarketCap had responded to kind of what was going on in regards to that imposter thing. It says, we made a mistake. CoinMarketCap does not want to compare the merits of any crypto over the other. A new team member was not familiar enough with our policy on commenting on the other projects, but now they are. We aim to be unbiased and let the algorithms do the talking. So I think, am I covering that one? Yeah, right here. So this Tag XRP hit it on the head. Like, who do you think you're kidding? CZ, Binance, CoinMarketCap. Like, who do you think you're kidding here? So Tag XRP says, I tried to leave to. Oh, let me say this. Johnny Deaton. So if you don't know, Tag XRP is one of like the major investigators and a huge. He makes a huge impact in regards of being a XRP community member in regards of surfacing, the Ethereum free pass timeline stuff and ETHgate stuff, and just surfacing all the shady behaviors in that regard. And he's kind of taking a break because he's been, working tirelessly trying to surface and find more information. So with this stuff that's been coming out, he's in a sense been forced to come back, and speak on it. So Johnny Deaton says, you have to admire the person who is compelled to speak out when injustice raises its ugly head. So if we come in here, Tag XRP says, I tried to leave Twitter and watch from the sidelines, but you snakes at CoinMarketCap sure are making it hard. No one believes your blatant lies, CZ and Binance. You're not the smartest people in the room. So coming in here says, quote, despite CoinMarketCap.com promises of objectivity and fairness, CoinMarketCap.com has a history of manipulating its rankings to benefit Binance. Yeah, I mean, there's always some sort of narrative. There's always some sort of reason why, certain, members in the crypto community or, these entities, these centralized entities or whatever the case, however you want to name them, they always have some sort of reason why they do things. Nothing is for nothing. It's not just like, oops, we made a mistake. You can't be this big of a company and make a mistake like that. And then only come out and address the situation when you get called out for it, which is absolutely crazy. Obviously, I understand when it comes to businesses, you may have, as they call, rogue employees and stuff. I get that. But it's like, really? Something that bad? It's kind of crazy. There's a reason behind everything. And I think Cowboy Crypto said it best, this is a coordinated attack. But, I know me and my wife are going to continue to accumulate and continue to hold strong because we know what we hold on. And we're on the right side of history when it comes to XRP and Ripple and whatnot. Coming over here to this video, I think this is quite interesting. So this is Laura Shan. So Laura Shan, I'm not even going to speak on her. We're just going to listen to kind of what she says in regards of Ethereum, right? Digital Asset Investor says, wow, the rationalization. This is like saying, yeah, this guy murdered someone. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and play it first, then we'll read that.
whether or not the messiness of how this all got started says anything bad about Ethereum. But I personally, I guess I think not. It's just because Ethereum's success is sort of its own thing. It's like separate, really, from the human drama. And, there's kind of no questioning just based on certain metrics. Obviously it's the second largest market cap, a crypto asset, by market cap. It has the largest developer community. It has the highest number of kind of like coins on it and like other ecosystems built on top. So it's not even just Ethereum itself, but there are all these other coins that are built on top of Ethereum. And so it's well beyond just Ethereum's market cap. But if you include everything, then the market cap riding on this blockchain is like probably well past Bitcoin's. So, I feel like Ethereum's success speaks for itself. And I don't know if like the fact that, it's definitely had a very messy ride in terms of like who was involved and what was going on in that power struggle there. I guess I would say that it didn't necessarily adversely affect the success of Ethereum.
It didn't necessarily affect the success of Ethereum when you try to create a monopoly with closed door meetings with powerful government figures and entities. Okay, yeah, obviously I have nothing against Ethereum in regards of, its technology, but it's like how it came about. You can't sit there and say that, especially with all the facts that are not in dispute. It's absolutely crazy. So he goes, wow, the rationalization. This is like saying, yeah, the guy murdered someone, but look how successful he is now. He sits in the front row in church. He coaches Little League. I don't think the murder reflects bad on him now. These people are unbelievable. Hashtag ETHgate is real. Absolutely. This is absolutely crazy. Coming over here, JV. I am so glad, JV. Shout out to you, bro. Make sure you follow JV XRP. But he put up this video from Chairman Gensler. We were talking about him kind of talking about investor protection and transparency in the market. So let's take a listen into this.
Be that cop on the beat to look out for investors and to ensure that the markets are free of fraud and manipulation.
In theory or metaphorically, when the tide goes out and we can see who's been swimming without their shorts on, how worried are you that, again, we're going to see a whole bunch of individual investors who wanted to get in the game really get screwed here and realize they didn't know what they were getting involved with?
I'm particularly concerned in something called the crypto token. This $2 trillion crypto asset space.
And a whole lot of people who have gotten mind-blowingly rich.
Well, have they? For a moment. And is it really your listeners, or is it a few people at hedge funds and family offices?
I don't know. Go down to Miami and you're going to see a lot more Lamborghinis driving around today than you did 3 years ago. One word, crypto.
So I do think that the Securities and Exchange Commission is an important agency looking out for regular investors, and they don't all have those Lamborghinis. I think that's why it's so important, the agenda that we have, they're trying to reform the markets on behalf of the American public.
If I can come in here, I just want to see his face. Let me see if I can catch his face. I can't find it, but I don't know who she is, but I think she low-key like called him out, like, you're talking about this crypto space that are making people, millionaires, multimillionaires, changing the course of people's lives. Yeah, there's a lot of people that get wrecked, right? And that's like with anything. You go gambling, you can get wrecked. You make a bad investment in the regular stock market, you can get wrecked. But there has been a lot of people that's completely changed the course of their lives financially. So I think she kind of called them out, and he's like, well, are they your listeners, or how many of them actually are driving Lamborghinis? But it's crazy. It's like, who are you really protecting? Because what about the 67,000+ XRP holders that are part of this class action lawsuit with Johnny Deaton? Like, you're not even responding, or let alone, do you even know we're there? I mean, I'm sure you know, but you're definitely not showing us any love. JV says, in other words, we're going to make sure those regular people don't get those Lamborghinis. I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting out of it, to be honest, based on, his thing. And he thought like he can kind of one up her, or kind of beat around the bush and give her an answer. But in her head, she's kind of like smiling about it all. Like, you're talking about crypto that's people are making millions on. These everyday people that you're so-called set out to protect. Come on now, who are you fooling, bro? So moving on. Right here, Cointelegraph says Coinbase CEO responds to insider trading allegations with changes for token listings. It says, quote, there's always a possibility that someone inside Coinbase could wittingly or unwillingly leak information to outsiders engaged in illegal activity. Okay, right here it says, found an ETH address that bought hundreds of thousands of dollars of tokens exclusively featured in the Coinbase asset listing post about 24 hours before it was published. So I've been in the space since 2017, and I was always curious about, like, they had like a weird way of launching tokens. Like they would have like a list, like, oh, we're looking at this list. But it's like, okay, you're throwing up this list, and already well in advance, what asset you're going to be posting, right? So you put up this list, and people kind of speculate, what could they add, what can't they not add, but like who are part of those meetings, and who, ahead of time in regards of this platform, Coinbase, like who knew what was going to happen? Because quite honestly, when it comes to just human nature, when it comes to greed, if you have information before it's actually listed, knowing how volatile this market is already, and you knew Coinbase was going to list, XRP, for instance, wouldn't you like go ahead and make sure you accumulate a fat bag somewhere else where you can buy it? And then as it's listed on Coinbase, knowing that there was a Coinbase effect that would, once an asset was listed, it would shoot up, hundreds of %. I mean, wouldn't you do that? And I'm sure, it's clear. Obviously, there's allegation, but it's clear that it's already happened. But it's like, as a CEO, and even the other big players within your platform, like, you're going to act like you really didn't know? Like you weren't benefiting at some point? I don't know. And I'm just, speaking my opinion. I'm not throwing, no straight like, oh, they did it. I'm not throwing none of that. That's kind of just my thought process, kind of how I think about things. It's human nature, man. It's greed in I don't know. It's too prevalent in this space. Coming over here, Binance blocks crypto accounts of relatives tied to the Russian government. Binance blocked the account of the Kremlin spokesman's daughter when she tried to use the exchange following the economic sanction imposed on Russia. So clearly, when it comes to, the Russian invasion on Ukraine and the sanctions that were placed on them, they're trying to find every way to make sure that they don't have an out in regards of trying to get around these sanctions. And, regardless of whatever Russia's doing in regards of, how they're trying to avoid this thing, obviously you can see exchanges like Binance are like, hey, no, we can't have it, which is kind of interesting. Anyways, coming over here, it says U.S. crypto adoption remains high despite global inflation fears. It says new DApp Radar report provides wide-ranging insights into the performance of the crypto and Web3 space throughout Q1 of 2022. So if you come over here and look at this, it says countries with the highest social media indicators for Web3 metaverse. So obviously we know the whole metaverse term is massive. You can see United States, massive, Indonesia, India, Turkey, Bangladesh, Philippines, United Kingdom, Vietnam, Nigeria, Japan. Quite interesting. Right here it says, quote, fashion giants like Gucci, Dolce, and Burberry have launched NFT collectibles, while Nike and Adidas have partnered with Web3 leading brands. HSBC and JP Morgan will open virtual booths in the Sandbox and Decentraland. So that news we've kind of already known based on, past videos when we covered it. But yeah, despite what's happening within the world, adoption is happening day by day. And we talk about that a lot. Coming over here, ETH2 deposits contract now holds 10% of the circulating ETH supply. So the ETH 2.0 deposit contract can only be unblocked after the proof of stake transition, postponed to the latter half of the year. So coming down here, it says the deposit contract for staking Ethereum on the Beacon chain reached a balance of 12 million ETH on Friday. The total locked up value of Ether in the ETH2 contract is worth about 34.5 billion. Absolutely crazy. Coming out here, I thought this was interesting. This is from Hassan. He says, at Jack, thoughts on proof of stake energy consumption being 99.9+% lower than proof of work. And Jack says, less security, more centralization. So, obviously, ETH 2.0, or as they call it, consensus layers continue to move along with, little to no friction, outside of them actually rolling it out. But good for them. VeChain can be used as payment in 2 million stores and VET bridge to BNB chain. So it says VeChain has made a series of announcements that look to substantially grow usability and adoption of its native VET token, which is absolutely huge. I mean, seeing this positivity within the VeChain community is huge. Says, thanks to partner Alchemy Pay, VET can now be used to buy goods at 2 million plus stores globally using our advanced low carbon blockchain transaction costs. Fractions of a cent are processed in seconds from any VeChain wallet. That's super positive. You know, right on. It says, quote, by working together with these groups of leading blockchains, we can develop understanding and mutually support each other to lift the industry as a whole. And I like the sound of it. That's what it should be about. You know, how can we support one another to make sure that this entire crypto industry, this entire crypto space has the ability to truly be prosperous and flourish and move on into the future. That's what it's about. It shouldn't be about these segregations and putting up these walls and trying to shoot one another down. It's like come together as a crypto community, realizing that it's pretty much the crypto community and the world's against it. I mean, a majority of the people in the world don't really know about it, aren't educated, speak negatively on it, and just aren't really buying into what's happening. So we have to band together and make sure that we educate people, and this space is doing everything in their power to, like how I said, you know, band together so they can flourish and solve the real world problems that, you know, these digital projects are trying to solve, which is huge. And lastly, bipartisan bill to give CFTC authority over exchanges and stablecoins. The Digital Commodities Exchange Act would give the commodities regulator the authority to determine rules for cryptocurrency developers and exchanges offering spot trading. So, I mean, I like the sound of this in regards of, you know, not just the SEC kind of regulating the space or, you know, unlawfully over-regulating by enforcement. Obviously, you know, having the CFTC kind of step in and kind of have some say-so, even though I truly feel like we need a specialized governing body to be established to really give this space a solid chance to flourish in regards to regulation. But, you know, this is positive in my view. It says, quote, the regulatory clarity is critical for digital commodity markets to promote innovation and consumer protection. Absolutely, especially when it comes to the U.S. We can't continue to move forward, pave the way forward when it comes to without regulatory clarity, because you're pushing a lot of this innovation and these entrepreneurs that are building these, you know, blockchain companies and these digital products that are solving real world problems. You're pushing them outside of the U.S., which is only hurting us. So innovators are spending up to 50% of startup costs on legal fees because of the current regulatory ambiguity between what is a security and what is a commodity. Absolutely. That word always gets me. It says, quote, this is one of the few bills introduced that the industry should watch closely. And I think the industry needs to really hone in and get this thing going for sure. But, you know, with all that being said, there's a lot of stuff. I know this video is super long, but I was super excited to put this up because I liked the articles that I was covering, and I liked just the FUD campaigns that were happening, which is absolutely crazy. But with all that being said, you know, stay strong out there. Be safe.